Yay, day, 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 day. Yay, day, 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 day. Yay, day, 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 yay, day, day, day. Yay, day, 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 yay, day, 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 day. Yay, day, 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 yay, day, day, day. Yay, day, 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 day.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. What a joy it is to have all of you here for our festive klezmer service. It really does infuse us all with energy and the beauty of such music. So tap your feet, clap your hands, stomp your feet, whatever moves you, make yourself at home and enjoy the beauty of Shabbat. And indeed, there is a great deal to celebrate this Shabbat. I know for us at Temple Har Shalom, it is the first time that we will actually have 3 from the same family becoming B'nai Mitzvah this Shabbat weekend. So we are very, very excited. Our joy is tripled. And that means that they all get to come up to help us light the candles and bless the wine. And if you'd like to follow along in our prayers, please grab a prayer book. It's called the Mishkan Tefillah. And we'll start on page 120. It's a pleasure to welcome forward Shelby, Ari, Bryce, and their parents, Karen and Bill. And you don't need any books or anything. And Karen, we're going to have you just stand
right up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu li'hadlik ner v'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
All right, if you'll each grab a Kiddush cup, and I have the blessing for each of you to follow along. You can hold it in. I promise it's juice. And face forward. And here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesh v'ha'uv ratzon chinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah l'mamrei kodesh. Zeher le'etzem Mitzrayim
Kivanu v'harta, yatzanu kidashta, mikomim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uratzon, imhaltanu, baruch atah Adonai v'kadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. It's just juice. It's okay, Bill. It's okay. We're going to continue our service under the accompaniment of the Hester Street Troupe. I'll tell you a little bit more about them in just a few moments, but we are on page 130 with L'chuna Ranana. L'chuna Ranina, L'chuna Ranina, L'chuna Ranina, l'Adonai. L'chuna Ranina, L'chuna Ranina, L'chuna Ranina, l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Litzuri, Shenu, Dikadmachana, Bitoda. Naria, Naria,
just wanted to tell you a little bit about the Hester Street Troupe. This is Alan, this is Jay, and this is Tom. The Hester Street Troupe, a group specializing in klezmer and Jewish entertainment, has been electrifying audiences for over 30 years. Their extraordinary repertoire consists of klezmer, a style where the clarinet imitates human emotions like laughing and crying, songs from the Yiddish vaudeville and Second Avenue theaters, as well as classic older and more contemporary Jewish melodies. Klezmer music is a style of music that is inherently Jewish in nature. The word klezmer comes from two Hebrew words, klei and zemer, meaning vessel of music or song. Klezmer music was a product of Eastern European Yiddish culture, which the Jewish immigrants brought with them to the United States in the late 1880s, excuse me. Klezmer musicians, also called klezmorim, were an informal group of musicians. Many were itinerants who went from village to village in Eastern Europe. They played traditional music, folk songs, folk dances, and solemn hymns before prayers. These musicians rarely knew how to read music. What Jews could afford music lessons who lived in the shtetl, and who would teach them? They earned very little money and had to keep moving, seeking out county fairs, weddings, synagogue dedications, Purim festivities, etc. Although untrained in any formal sense, many were extremely gifted men. So superior was their playing that Polish nobles often engaged them. As characters, the shabby klezmorim were familiar to all Ashkenazi Jews. They were regarded as drifters, odd types, and itinerant minstrels. These guys are not itinerant minstrels or odd types. They are wonderful professional men, so we are glad that they are with us. They are a recurrent theme in the paintings of Marc Chagall and Chaim Gross. So we welcome the Hester Street Troupe, and we thank Bruce and Jody Friedman for their contribution to make it possible for them to be here. So we're going to continue with Baruch Hu on page, Lecha Dodi, page 138. We will chant verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. La 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 la. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, tishmi anu miuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, tishemo tiferet v'mikvah la 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 la. Adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. Adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. Likrat Shabbat lichuven elchad, ki mikor abracha, virosh migedem nisucham. Safa ase b'mat Shabbat la 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 la. Adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. Adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela.
Verse 5.
Oreri, kiva ori, uri, shida uri, kivod Adonai, Adonai, yigni la la, echadoni, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. Echadoni, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela.
It is traditional that we rise for the last verse, face the doors as we welcome the Shabbos Queen.
Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, tuchmuni am segula, bo'i chalom, bo'i chalom. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela.
turn now to page 146. We remain standing and continue with the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Havorach. Baruch Hu et Adonai Havorach. Baruch Adonai Havorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Havorach Le'olam Baruch Hu et Adonai Havorach. Baruch Hu et Adonai Havorach.
Page 152, Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Arkuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Arkuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
You may all be seated. And I'm going to welcome forward Ari, Bryce, and Shelby to come lead us on the Via Hafta, page 154.
V'ahavta ei Adonai Elohecha b'chol levaha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzvacha hayom olavavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shitata v'vatecha uvletecha v'derech Usheptecha u'kumecha U'shaitam la'oz al yadecha V'hayu l'titafot b'einecha U'ftatam al mezuzot beitecha U'v'isharecha L'man tizkaru v'yasem et kol mitzvotai V'hayyitem kodeshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzit etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim le'ot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
And we were so worried they'd be timid and shy. What power and strength. That's beautiful. Well, we're going to continue on page 157 as we read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
And though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Moshe Miriam, Zehili, Anuvi, Adonai, Lord, Leolam, Ya Papa, Bim, Bim, Bam, Ya Papa, Bim, Bam, Ya Papa, Bim, Bim, Bam, Ya Papa, Bim, Bam, Ay, 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 Ya Papa, Bim, Bam, Ay, 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 Ya Papa, Bim, Bam.
We continue with Hashkivenu on the top of page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu lishalom Hamidinu shomrinu lichayim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu lishalom Hamidinu shomrinu lichayim Ushmor zitinu Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu lishalom Hamidinu shomrinu lichayim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu lishalom Hamidinu shomrinu lichayim.
Please join us in Vishamru, page 162.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל ותהי לעולם. אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת מדורות לברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת Haj Vishamru B'nei Israel Et HaShavan La'asot et HaShavan Lidorot HaMerit We continue with the Amidah, page 164. Please rise. You're not allowed to sit down, Alan. Anananananana Adonai Ananananana Svatai Tivtai Ananananana Ufi Agim Tehillateva Anananananana Adonai Ananananana Svatai Tivtai Ananananana Ufi Yagim Tehillateva Ananananana Adonai Ananananana Svatai Tivtai Ananananana Ufi Yagim Tehillateva Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevin Geula Livnei V'neihem L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahavam Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayhi HaKol HaTarov V'Hushiam Mashiv HaRuach Asek Morid HaTal Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayhi HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Novim V'Rofei Cholim U'Maitir Asurim Kayehim Emunato V'Shinei Yafa V'Chavocha Ba'Gevuro U'Mito Melach Melech Memit Mechayeh U'Matzmiach Yeshuam V'nei Baratah L'Chayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai B'chayhi HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha HaKadosh U'Kedoshim Choyom Yalalu Chasela Baruch atah Adonai Ha'il HaKadosh.
And you may all be seated.
It's pretty impressive when they can find my key in an a cappella piece where I just kind of pick a note out of the air, and these gentlemen just found it.
We are on page 173, and I'd ask you to please join reading with me. May these hours of rest and renewal Open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. And our prayer of thanksgiving is on page 177, and I'd ask that you please join me. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words for the awareness of our soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulacha na'eh lehodot.
Please join us in Shalom Rav, page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Ki atah melech Adon lichol hashalom. Ki atah melech Adon lichol hashalom. Shalom ra'av al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom ra'av al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. V'tov eileka livarech et amcha Yisrael bechol id ubechol shah tishlomecha. Shalom ra'av al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom ra'av al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
Shalom Rav, together with all the words and songs and traditions of Shabbat, give us reason to pause and be grateful. It is that one time a week where the rest of the world is supposed to stay in its place, and we are supposed to transform ourselves to a different place, a place where we can see a better world, enjoy the peace of family and friends, appreciate the beauty of our outdoors and the new season that is awaiting. It is a time for us to think of the challenges we've overcome and all that we've endured. And most importantly, it's a time for us to recognize our blessings. For many here, it is the blessing of family and friendship and celebration. For others, it is the blessing of memory. And whatever brings you here on Shabbat, we hope that Shabbat peace, Shalom Rav, will find its way into your heart and into your spirit. We pause for a few moments of silent prayer.
Shalom bimroma. Hui as Shalom aleinu. V'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol yoshvotei v'imru. Ose Shalom bimrama, Uyas Shalom aleinu, V'al kol Yisrael, V'al kol yoshvotei v'imru, Amen. La 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Oh say shalom bimrama, Yas shalom aleinu, V'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol yoshvotei v'imru. Amen.
As we listen to the wonderful klezmer melodies, some of which take us back to the day of literally our grandparents or great-grandparents, I'm reminded there are two special ways that you can live this music. One, and I heartfeltly encourage you, is to attend the off-Broadway show of Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish. It is an amazing, amazing production. And even if you don't understand Yiddish, they have most cleverly interwoven the English and the Russian subtitles right into the set. So treat yourself. And another important way is through an extraordinary exhibit that is taking place at the Jewish Museum in Battery Park. If you'd like to join us as a congregation, we are going on July 22nd, Monday, July 22nd, to the Auschwitz exhibit. And again, something not to be missed. And it reminds us clearly of the richness of the lives that we have lost and so much yet that we still retain, thank God. Well, today on the calendar is a special day, not necessarily a Jewish holiday, but certainly, and it is not a national holiday, though it is one that is declared by Congress. But we didn't have off, and most of us worked, and the banks weren't closed, and neither were the schools or the courts. But this day is known as Flag Day, absolutely, July 14th. So I thought I'd spend just a moment with you to discuss the importance of our American flag, one which is right here in our sanctuary. And after all, when did flags become part of religious sanctuaries? And indeed, there is a history to everything. So first of all, why did nations need flags? And when was ours literally birthed? Well, the first flag came to be not all at once now, I don't want to get confused, in 1775, actually. It happened because today is not only a Flag Day, but it is the birthday of the U.S. Army. Because when the Army was established by the Second Continental Congress on June 14th of 1775, the first thing they needed to hoist above was a flag. And it has gone through many, many, many traditions, of course, but the official flag was accepted 2 years later, on June 14th of 1777, when we adopted the colors of the flag that we know now, and we've still retained just one part of that flag, its stripes. So what do we call these colors? They are official, and in order to have a flag, you cannot deviate from these colors. So look at them. Anybody know the names of the colors of our flag? Well, very good. The white is correct. But think about how many different colors of blue there are. Our ancestors were really very, very clever. It's called Old Glory Blue and Old Glory Red, and can only be used in the making of a flag. All right, the stripes, what do they represent? First of all, how many are there, Shelby? 13 stripes, beautiful. And why do we have 13 stripes? Go right ahead. The 13 original colonies, absolutely. Now, the stars didn't always look the way they did. There was quite an argument for quite some time whether it should be a 5-pointed star or a 6-pointed star, whether the stars should be in rows or whether the stars should be in circles. And that argument went all the way up until 1865, when as we know it, the flag that we have, the one with the stars with 5 points, because it is supposed to represent the new constellation of a new land. And why in 1865? What took place then? The Civil War, exactly. So we needed one united flag. Now, what does the blue represent? Old Glory Blue. Yes, the sky, exactly. The sky, beautiful, thank you. And the red? Anybody know what the color red was for? Actually, I always thought it was that. It was that for the blood that was spilled in creating our land and maintaining it, but no, the actual thing is for hardiness and valor, is what the red represents. The white represents purity and innocence, and the blue, vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Well, it was President Woodrow Wilson in 1912 that declared this officially Flag Day, but who would have guessed it? Congress could never agree whether it should be a legal holiday or a federal holiday or just a holiday. So it is still stuck in committee and there to forever sit with so many other decisions that they can't seem to make a decision about. But when did flags come into houses of worship? And also the flags that we have gold ribbing around them. And there's only one other place that you'll see gold ribbing. Those are flags that are only used for ceremonial use. And an eagle on top. Nothing else is permitted to be there. In addition, no other flag is ever to be larger or higher than the American flag. So, the use of flags came into being after World War I into religious houses of worship after that horrible war that saw so many lose their lives. It was thought that we need to show our patriotism to all those who had lost their lives. And ever since that time, it is up to individual houses of worship to decide whether they will fly the American flag. So it'll be interesting the next time you visit a synagogue or a church or a mosque to see if they do indeed. Our congregation, since its inception, from what I understand, Cantor correct, voted to always have the American flag. The Israeli flag, of course, came into being in 1948, and for those who are not familiar with it, represents a talit. and the blue and white of the tallis, the traditional colors, and of course the star, the six-pointed star, coming from the old tradition of David's medallion. But indeed, the adding of that to a sanctuary is rife with much more strife, and that is because which is our promised land? For those houses of worship where you will see both flags, you can tell immediately where they stand on the political spectrum. We support Israel and its right to exist and America as our home. But for those Jewish houses of worship that may be missing the Israeli flag, you may want to ask why, because it is truly a reason that this, America, is the promised land, and only those in Israel have a right to fly the flag. So there is controversy, but God willing, peace everywhere. But there's a story, so don't ever take anything you see here for granted. But at least we do give thanks for Old Glory, what she represents, and the hopes that whenever she does fly, she can continue to represent those ideals for which we feel the strongest. And that is up to each one of us. So thank you. Cantor? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so we are going to return to our prayer books, page 586 for the Aleinu. It's time for us to welcome Shelby, Ari, and Bryce up once again to open the ark doors. And I'm going to ask everyone to rise, please.
עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצאי בראשית, שלא עשן כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
I'm going to ask that we please remain standing, because at this time, as we do each and every time we come together as a community, we remember those who are no longer physically present, but who are very much alive in our hearts and in our memories. On this Shabbat, we commemorate the Yortzites of Rena Berger, Elias Braunstein, Yetta Braunstein, Carol Feinstein Bush, Beatrice Cohen, Harvey Cohen, May Feldman, David Frischman, Matilda Glogover, Stephen Lewis Hirsch, Seymour Jacobson, Harry Kaufman, Lillian Lerner, Stephanie Pinson, Shirley Rossoff, and Edward Rudnitsky. If there is anyone else here that is commemorating a Yortzeit and would like to share a name with us now, please feel free to do so. If there is anyone who has endured a most recent loss and would like to share a name, please feel free to do so. Well, always as a community, we stand together so that no mourner ever stands alone. And also because we know that there are so many of our people who have no one left to remember them. Always we remember those of the American Armed Forces and the Israel Defense Forces who have given their lives in defense of our nation and the land of Israel. And so we turn to page 598 to recite the Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah v'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'hayechon v'yomechon v'chaye d'chol be'Israel v'agala uvizman kari v'yimeru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam amei amaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha b'rachu. Le'olam yimkol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiran v'alma v'yimeru amen. Yehei shlama rabba mim shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. We pray that the source of peace will send peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us, as we all say.
Amen.
Amen. And you may all be seated. Well, just a reminder that the beauty of Shabbat will continue tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. when our B'nai Mitzvah, Shelby, Ari, and Bryce Rosen, will be called to the Torah. And we look forward to your presence and your full participation in our service. And then the next 2 Friday nights, we will join together for Shabbat services at 6:30 as we ease into our summer schedule. And then in July and August, please look out for our Shabbats in the park, and of course, our famous or infamous Har Shalom. And we, of course, will be inviting everyone this year to actually bring a picnic dinner and come have Shabbat dinner with us in the park. So please watch out for your emails and all the exciting news. Cantor, anything else?
Nothing. Very special thank you to the guys for being here tonight. It's always a pleasure. This is the third of the 3 times that they were scheduled to be here this year, and it really is, it's a special treat for me,
For all
and
of
the rabbi
us.
as a leader. So thank you very, very much. We're going to conclude with a song called Alle Brüder. It's in Yiddish. How many here know Yiddish? You know of Yiddish, yes? Okay. How many of you actually know Yiddish? Yeah? A bissel? All right. So you'll enjoy this. It's called Alle Brüder, which means all of my brothers.
Und wir seien alle Brüder, oi, oi, alle Brüder. Und wir singen freche Lieder, oi, oi, oi. Und wir haben sich in ihm, oi, oi, sich in ihm. Sag, es ist nicht so bei keinem, oi, oi, oi. Oi, 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 und wir singen alle einig, oi, oi, alle einig, sind wir singen viel zu wenig, oi, oi, oi. Und wir singen fröhlich munter, oi, oi, fröhlich munter, singen Lieder, tanzen unter, oi, oi, oi. Oi, 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 draußen mit Kalle, oi, oi, oi. Wieder komm ich mit der Rasche, oi, oi, mit der Rasche. Wieder Kugel mit der Kasche, oi, oi, oi.
Well, we want to take this opportunity to wish all our dads out there a very happy Father's Day, and we hope that you will all join us for a very special One and some treats that these three even requested. You guess which ones they are. But right now, here comes the Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Pull it apart. Cousins, come help. Friends, come on up. Come on, guys.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Adonolam, Adonolam, Ashmala, Iterem kol, Yitzira, Yinasa, Vichem Zuful, Azai, Melech Shemo, Ikram, Acharei, Otakol, Ivatui, Vonora, Ihu Haya, Ihu Ovem, Ihu Yevim, Tiv Aram, Adonolam, Adonolam, Hashem Allah, B'terem Tzira, V'hinasa, V'chem Zokol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikram, Yehu Echad, V'in Sheni Lam Shilo, V'Avira, V'li Reshi, V'li Tachachi, V'los V'Hamisra, Adonolam, Adonolam, Hashem Allah, V'terem kol, Yitzira, V'yina Asa, V'chem Zokol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikram, Yehu Ili V'chai Goalim, Zorem V'V'it Tzara, Yehu Nisim, Manosim, Inat Hosei B'yom V'Ikram, Adonolam, Adonolam, Hashem Allah, V'terem kol, Yitzira, V'yina Asa, V'chem Zokol, Azai Melech Elohim, Yadu V'Hidrochi, V'Yidish V'Hayira, V'Yimachim, V'Yadlim, Adonai Le'etem Lo Yira, Adonolam, Adonolam, Hashem Allah,
You're going to get a chance to do it next year?
Let's hope so. They'll give me money again.
All right.
I'll ask them.
Okay.
They're very gracious.
Oh, that's nice.
So, all right. I'm going to go turn on.
Go ahead.